they're the only ones getting better.
If we don't touch on this, I'll lose my.
We kind of went off on a tangent there.
Ignominious situation for himself.
You guys know I'm a nerd and a loser, and I study, and I didn't even know that word.
But, 2006, I probably would have smashed him.
California's Kevin Harvick does it.
Welcome to Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour, presented by NASCAR on Fox. I'm Kevin Harvick. She's Kaitlyn Vincie, and he's Dennis Rodman.
Hey,
Nice shirt.
This is my only. Well, other than the shoes I got on today, I only got so much like Michael Jordan stuff, so I figured this fit.
Is that the same thing that you wore to the watch party last night?
No, this is a different fit from the watch party.
Who won the race?
Who won the race? This guy won the race. Tyler Reddick.
All right.
good.
'Cause you didn't
wondering.
pick him, though, right?
Who?
You didn't pick him.
I don't know.
There's a new leader in the
The points are a little shaken up.
We'll get to that moment.
It
So
was an interesting race because it was rather uneventful, I would say, until the tail end.
Yes.
And once again, Tyler Reddick was able to win 5 of the last 9 races. Did you think he would reach that number that soon?
I did not, but I think he's going to break the Gen 7 record of 6 races in a season.
Yes, I think so
he breaks.
too.
I think he's going to break that record. I think he's going to get 8 or 9 wins before this whole thing is done. Now, I think that it was really interesting because at the beginning of the race, Larson was good, and then you had Hamlin good. It was weird how it all cycled around, and then you get to that last restart. Reddick fires off third and somehow winds up in the second lane, and so there were a lot of things that moved around right there. But when they fired off right here, I mean, Larson, I believe he set Hamlin up pretty good to leave a little space right there. Got a huge run, got below him. Not much Hamlin could do. The part I was surprised, Christopher Bell is going to win this race, that Reddick didn't keep him behind him right there by blocking him a little better. Hamlin got in the door of the 45, hits the 20 into the fence, but Christopher Bell was going to go on to win that race if he doesn't break that toe link with the fence right there and the contact, from the 45. But Tyler Reddick hasn't lifted yet. He's still on the gas. And I honestly, there was one moment where I started to say this one's Kyle Larson's, and
then
Mike or Clint or somebody said something, and I never really got to say it, and I was like, oh, thank God I didn't get to say that.
Glad I
because
didn't say that
would have been wrong by the time they got to the middle of turns 1 and 2. Larson said his car got super tight on the 2-tire exchange right there. Chase Briscoe down there in third place. I really thought that. Well, they're lucky there wasn't 2 more corners because he was going to win on those 4 tires. He was the first car on 4 tires, but in the end, Tyler Reddick gets it done for the 5th time.
That is wild.
In 9 races.
Michael Jordan said, "This kid is on fire. I don't know if I can cool him down." That was his
He hopes he can't.
Yeah.
He hopes he can't. Well, yeah, I mean, isn't it wild what a difference a year makes? Like a year ago, we were sitting here with a lot of questions about this team. Now they seemingly don't really have a weak spot, except maybe pit road, because we've seen their speed.
Pit road's
is
not
great,
as
fast.
And I think that the Martinsville, definitely an
short
issue.
track
Short tracks.
situation.
He did well at Bristol, but the thing about Bristol is you can run around the top, it's more of a Reddick type scenario where he can make that high line, move around the racetrack, and be creative as far as the lines that you run. Martinsville's pretty straightforward. You need to run her against the curb and get up off the corner and do all those things. So, but definite improvement, and I think that. We expected Tyler Reddick to be this, and Denny Hamlin said it on my pre-race show, or our pre-race show on Fox. The Chris Myers' pre-race show. But
Good save.
Yeah. I asked him. I said, "Did you expect Tyler Reddick to be this good?" And he said, "Yes. This is why we hired Tyler Reddick to come over here and be an elite race car driver to win championships, race for championships, and win races." And I think that last year affected that team with the lawsuit and Reddick's personal life situations that he was dealing with. That I think it affected him more than we realized, and I think that they also learned from it and fixed things that they didn't even realize that became an issue going into this year. So, man, it is good, and I think that. I still think that Michael Jordan understands, like he was there on Saturday this week, that his presence there means something.
It changes it.
In these elite situations of things that don't normally happen. And they're doing abnormal things right now with all the races that they're winning so early.
Yeah.
They have to be happy too because all their cars were in the top 15, which includes Corey Haim.
Yeah.
So your thoughts on Tyler's performance and the team as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I think first off, there's the outlier of Tyler Reddick's career was last year not running well. Like his whole career, he's won everywhere. He won back-to-back championships in the O'Reilly Series with 2 different teams.
Yeah.
He won at RCR in the Cup car. He won at 2311 when he got it in the 45. Like this is not the abnormal part was last year. I think when you look at it this year, you're like, that's the guy that was there at 2311 year 1.
Right.
And plus. You know, everything around him seems like it's going right. The team is going right. And not just the 45 team, but there was a lot of points in that race yesterday where all 4 2311 cars were in the top 15.
Yeah.
And Riley Herbst wasn't the 4th car for a lot of that.
No, he ran 11th or 12th at one point.
Yeah, so when you look at 2311 as a whole, they are the best organization right now as far as speed. I think they're really close. I do, because you wouldn't expect a Riley Herbst to be that far up in the grid. So if he's that far up, then like everyone doesn't expect it. So like he has to be doing something pretty right, and they have to be pretty good for him to at least be there. So
Yeah.
I think from Corey Haim's standpoint, I expect Corey Haim to be up there. Riley's been this pleasant surprise, I think, at 2311.
Yeah, well, and I still think that the Gibbs cars are overall faster than the 2311 cars.
Yeah,
But
okay.
the unique part about this whole scenario is those guys and the information sharing and the cars coming from Joe Gibbs Racing. The unique part is going to be the little details that keep coming from, okay, well, why did Denny Hamlin run so good? Okay, well, why did Tyler Reddick so good? Okay, why did Ty Gibbs run so good? And then they keep stacking these little details of things that each team finds.
Yeah.
They're the only ones getting better.
They're the only one.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they're taking really good race cars and just keep fine tuning them with these little things that the resources and where they're racing at in the pack at the front, all racing for the win. Like they're just up there playing their own game.
It's also a
currently.
perfect storm.
I mean, Larson was in the mix.
Yeah,
I will say Kyle Larson looked as good this week as he looked good at Vegas. He looked good here. Looked good at Bristol. Just hasn't won, right? Now it's 33 races and hasn't been able to get to victory lane. And unfortunately, fortunately for Hendrick Motorsports and Kyle Larson, the expectation is to not go 33 races and not be in victory lane. And I would have
5.
I'm still blown away that he won the championship and went through the playoffs and everything last year and didn't win a race.
On this winless streak.
Now we've gone to Kansas and we've gone to Kansas again in the spring, and he hasn't won a race. A little earlier this year, hasn't quite been a year, but they're close.
Yeah,
closer. But they've also been to a lot of their really good racetracks, but they're closer.
Yeah, it's a perfect storm, I think, too, right? With the Chevrolet changing their body, they're all trying to figure that out, and then the Toyotas being able to build on what they had last year, and they were already good last year. So it's a perfect storm there. Did you guys? Hang on. If we don't touch on this, I'll lose my shit. I need the slide 12 of Denny Hamlin and MJ. Okay, I need that right now. And if this ain't the most Big Brother moment I've ever seen, like this is hilarious.
And smiling all the way.
While the
out.
other one's stone faced.
Yeah, he's just like, it's like Big Brother being like, I got you again. Because, when Denny wins, Michael doesn't win, right? If Michael wins, Denny does win, but it's a different part of Denny that wins. So it's kind of a little.
Michael had said, I guess to Jamie Little before the race, it was reported that he knew Denny was going to be their toughest competition today. And Denny obviously led 131 laps. Things kind of fell apart for him at the end. He seemed frustrated with the caution, frustrated that he fell for Larson's move, as he said.
Yeah.
What's that like for him having that one slip away under those circumstances?
Well, the other thing to go back to the interview that Michael Jordan said was, I can't wait to talk trash to Denny.
Yes, he did say that.
And I thought that was fun. You can see that they have a very competitive relationship.
Yeah.
But I think from Denny Hamlin's standpoint, you could see the frustration after that race of him knowing that Larson suckered him in to what sounded like the same thing that he did the last time. That they were there to put him 3 wide and I don't really know what you do in that situation. I guess you could stack them up and give the outside lane a little bit to keep Larson lower to make him push you. But I just don't think Larson's staying put regardless. Like I think he's going to the bottom, and if you block the bottom, he's going to the middle. Like I don't know that Denny was in a situation that he was gonna going to be able to keep Larson from at least making a move because that's just Kyle Larson.
Yeah, some guys would not move, but him and like a Holsevar, like maybe a Bubba,
they're going.
Like they're going.
Yeah, they're going to make a move. And, I was a little bit surprised that Reddick didn't block Bell because if Bell doesn't get wrecked, he wins the race. But that's that all that stuff happens so fast at the end of those races when you're trying to look low and block low and looking high, and then all of a sudden somebody's out on your quarter panel. But I think for Denny Hamlin, he's competitive and led a big portion of that race and felt like he had the dominant car for a big portion of that race. And coming to the white flag, Cody Ware spins out down on the bottom of the racetrack, 6 laps down. And right call,
tire.
But right call. He had a blown tire. Not anything that he did. Right rear tire blew out. NASCAR had to throw the caution with the way that car looked like it was.
Right in front of the leaders.
With the way that it looked like it was going to back up the track, they had to throw the caution. Yeah. And I know that he spun out, went to the apron, and kept going. But it sucks. I've been a part of a lot of those things where you get a late caution like that and you dominate a race and lose them, and it's not fun while you're doing it.
The racing gods are real.
They're mean.
They are
mean
real.
sometimes.
Pretty angry on the radio. Probably the most angry I've heard him after a race.
Denny.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did he say?
The F word.
He said,
on the race radio, on his in-car radio?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was just but a very aggressive use of the F.
Yeah. Emphasis on the F.
Emphasis on the F.
So is that like he said fart or
no,
what did he say?
You know which word. I'm not allowed to say it. You can say
that
it.
mean F word.
Yeah.
The mean F
Oh,
word.
okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
FU one.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's dirty.
Staying in the Joe Gibbs Racing family, let's talk about Chase Briscoe. You mentioned it, the fact they took the 4 tires on that last stop. He is now in 15th in the standing, so he is starting to make gains after having that rough couple of weeks. Do you think they've stopped the bleeding over there?
Yeah, he still wasn't happy with his car after the race.
Yeah.
He still sounded frustrated, with how tight that his car was, during the race, and just couldn't quite get the balance right. But they almost won the race, and 4 tires won the race last year when the 23 and 11 car got together, and this year 4 tires almost won the race. So that was a great strategy. I think he restarted 11th there at the end.
Yes.
So he made a lot of ground and wound up with a solid finish. So they're slowly but surely making their way back to the top. Unfortunately, we're going to Talladega, and you just never know how that is going to work out. But I think I don't think they're as good as they were last year. Right now, it just seems like they're kind of a little off from being as lock and step as they were last year. And even last year at this point,
it was kind of this.
It was a little bit up and
They
down.
really came on at the end.
But they didn't have those big disasters like they did this year at the
Yeah.
beginning of the season. So it's not as different as last year from a performance standpoint. It seemed like it took them a little bit to get halfway through the year to be able to put themselves in a position where they were consistently in contention to win. But I think the speed is there.
It's almost flip-flopped because now it's Ty Gibbs.
Yeah.
The one,
Yeah. I think they upped their expectation at the end of last year. That we just thought that they were going to start out really well, and they just some of the things weren't out of their control, like some failures and getting in some wrecks like at Daytona or whatever. I just looked at the points. He's 50 out of 9th. And we feel like 6, 7.
6.
6 is what Kevin's
6
saying.
is the
6,
threshold,
not 7.
not 7. Yeah, 6, not 7 is the threshold. So the gap to 7th is still quite a bit. So they just need to keep plugging away and stacking these days and finishing the races out.
Well, you have a good day, like he could have at Talladega. Everybody could have a good day at Talladega, but there's going to be a lot of people that have a bad day. Like it's just inevitable that it's going to happen, and so it's you just got to keep your head down and keep grinding away because they have the cars, they have the resources, they have everything that they need to win races, run in the front. Their teammates are doing it every week in and week out. It's just not having failures, not having mistakes. don't do all the things that put yourself in a hole. But they've got the race cars to do it.
Speaking of keeping your head down and grinding it out, let's talk about some people who had some issues that they had to overcome. And I want to start with Carson Hocevar, who ended up finishing 13th. Had a good qualifying effort, had speed, pit crew, broken pit gun. Then they had another slow stop to tighten a wheel. He was frustrated on the radio, but I did hear him say, like, well, I'm way better than these guys, so thanks for giving me the opportunity to pass them all over again. So he still was kind of himself, but that's got to get, old for him.
Yeah, it's definitely a different tone of frustration from Carson, because I feel like he knows now that he's capable. There was one point in the race, and I don't remember who, he just pointed him by. And letting, I think it was actually the 54. But he pointed him by, and Ty, got really tight and had to basically stop in the middle of the corner. He went back by, but I mean, he was literally just moving by. And the reason that I point that out is the fact that he's trying to take care of his equipment when he's racing for 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th place. Where it's like, hey, if I finish 9th right here, why make an enemy or tear up my car or take a chance of finishing 30th? I feel like he's racing smarter. But I also feel like he's becoming more frustrated with the scenario, knowing that their cars are fast, and then you have the pit stops, and then you have just stuff happening, and you can definitely feel the frustration from him, because he knows the capability of what is happening at Spire right now.
He feels like they can win a race. And I think that they're on the cusp of. They're
he can win this week.
Yeah, he definitely win this week, and I wouldn't be afraid to. I wouldn't be afraid to pick him this week either, with how aggressive he is at the super speedways. But it takes a lot, and putting all the pieces together, he probably feels like he's doing better at putting the pieces together, and now it's kind of falling apart on the other end a little bit. So that frustration kind of mounts, but he just needs to keep the head on straight. I forget that he's 23 too.
Yeah,
he's only 23. That's
wild.
That's crazy.
Well, like Kevin said last week, if you're paid to pit the car, you pit the car, and you do it well, people, right?
Yeah, well, we can cut him some slack for the pit gun breaking, but the rest of them are on you, boys.
Yeah. So what about this incident on pit road with Ryan Blaney having contact with AJ Allmendinger as he's exiting his pit stall? That happened in stage 1. And Ryan Blaney just having a very uncharacteristic day, I would say, as a whole for the 12 team, because he said at one point he's got no grip, no speed. We don't typically see that out of that team specifically.
Yeah, even before this incident, Blaney was 10th or 12th, whatever he was. He wasn't in contention at the front of the pack like we typically expect him to be. I look at that pit road incident right there. I mean, that's an error from two of them, the driver and the top of the pit box, because that wasn't even really tight quarters. Yeah. Like that's just
you had an out too.
Yeah, like just a little lackadaisical on both of their parts, or whoever's calling him out of the pit box. Didn't do a very good job. I think that I think Ryan Blaney overachieves in his cars currently. I think that team and Ryan do a great job with a car that is not very good, from a Ford standpoint, compared to the Toyotas and the top Chevrolets. You look at, Joey Logano at one point this week was running all he could do in the late 20s and just had a miserable day. Cindric drove up through there the first run and then just kind of fizzled away. Really, the best cars have over the weekend were Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski.
The RFK cars have kind of
Buescher qualified well, but if Brad ever figures out how to qualify good,
he only did it like 1 week.
And he led a whole bunch of laps. And by the end of the race, he's capable of running into the top 5, but he just never gets there. Yeah. And he got some stage points in stage 2, but I think Blaney's team and the whole Penske bunch was a little bit off this weekend.
One thing I want to note about Ryan Blaney, because we've talked about this a lot, is the pit crew. They did make a jackman change heading into the weekend, but their original choice couldn't be there for personal reasons, so they had to use someone from the 4 of Noah Gragson.
Oh, okay.
But
they did have their best 2 pit stops speed-wise of the year. But
they have made a change, so we will see.
And look, I don't want to pile on, but I have to point it out. I know that they made their fastest 2 pit stops of the year, but they are also racing for 20th. It's different. It's
different when you're running up front trying to make something happen than when
pressure.
We are like, we're not good enough to win. There's not as much. The pressure is not the same.
Yeah. And so I don't want to be quick to judge them. Obviously, the speed is there, the capability is there, but we got to see it when they're racing for first.
Yeah, I think the Penske thing is interesting. Obviously, Ryan's been kind of toting the flag. Joey has been up and down. And the Josh Berry in that 21 group is kind of like they're like a non-conversation since Vegas. He won Vegas last year. It's been a weird situation, and it's like they're all searching. And it's like Jonathan Hassler and Ryan are able to hit what they need at least, but as a company, it's like they're still searching for that raw speed.
Joey Logano was the next to slowest car in practice.
Joey Logano's a bad
that's pretty
ass. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
Makes no sense to me whatsoever.
It's not the first week we've seen this happen where Team Penske was just totally out of the ballpark. Same thing happened at Darlington. This person gets the best radio transmission of the race, and I'm talking about Daniel Suarez.
Hell yeah.
Who at one point, he said, "It's amazing we can send mother effers to the moon, but we can't figure out our effing radios," which I think, man, is a very valid point, because that should not be happening. It's got to be frustrating, right?
It is. And you get those radio gremlins, and you just can't. You changed all the wiring harnesses, you changed the helmet, you changed the earplugs, and nothing works. And so that is frustrating. Is the mother effer in that? Yeah. Is that the same as the?
He said it actually.
Okay.
I edited it for this show's purpose.
Yeah,
he said it, which made it even funnier.
I think it's funny that Ryan Sparks, his crew chief, comes on and Ryan's like, "Yeah, copy 10-4. We're going to get your emergency radio." like, there's not much you can say. It's like, "Yeah, I'm with you, bud." And Julia, his wife, like tweeted like the exact quote on Twitter. It was hilarious.
He, by the way, is P16 in the standings. He's looking smarter and smarter about that move he made in the offseason, which brings me...
Suarez has made that has been a massive improvement for him from a performance side going to Spire. So, great move for Daniel, and he's happy. I saw him this weekend at the hotel. He's super happy with the way that everything's going. Now it's just about the details of getting the rest of the team situated. Speed hasn't been an issue.
McDowell left front row. He seemingly got better, got more consistently speed.
I disagree with that.
You think so? I think he's been faster.
I think Michael McDowell was better at front row.
Really?
I do. I do.
But the whole part of this story, too, is the fact that Daniel Suarez left Trackhouse Racing. So they have really been struggling. All three of their drivers, 26 or worse yesterday. Justin Marks, the team owner, said recently that they are in a rebuilding year, rebuilding phase. And what stage of that rebuild, we don't know. But what do they need to do to get back on track?
That's a great question. I don't know what they're rebuilding. I think I think the expectation was SVG to keep winning and get better on ovals. Connor Zilic come in and, be competitive.
SVG,
we all expected Connor Zilic to come in and be competitive and for them to win all the road course races. That's really what we expect, right?
Yep.
Is Trackhouse one of those two guys to win all the road races? And, SVG's gotten better on the ovals, but Connor Zilic has been non-existent as far as performance. Coda, he had some issues, and he had the speed to run up in the front of the pack, and I think he will at Watkins Glen. But man, it's been tough sledding for the one car, and he's kind of he's the guy that you kind of judge where the speed is at Trackhouse, and it hasn't even been close. So he's qualified decent a couple times, but he himself has talked about the car. We can make it run fast for a couple laps, but we have no speed on long runs whatsoever. And he was lapped in the first stage this week.
Well, let me ask you guys this, as I feel like Trackhouse came on very strong when the new car was introduced, but now has everyone else caught up and they've just fallen behind, or what do you think is the true scenario?
I would agree with that. I think that when Hamlin talked about this the other day, just when the car started, everybody was still searching for what they need. Now that everybody's kind of honed in on what makes it tick, and the big teams have really been able to detail out what they needed in their race cars and hone in on the things that they need to work on and dial in with the sim and all the things that go with it. You've seen those big three kind of rise back to the top, and I think that the Trackhouse group has just seemed to just get a little further behind over the last 2 years. Made some personnel changes, but doesn't seem like it's gone in the right direction from a performance standpoint.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is the flagship team of Chevrolet is Hendrick Motorsports, obviously, and they're not dominating right? They're not in this dogfight with the JGR and 2311 Toyotas. They're getting back to it, but until I think you see them consistently up there with their 4 cars, the other Chevrolets are going to struggle too, because the mothership is giving the information and they're searching. So that everyone's kind of like on their own trying to figure this thing out.
William Byron's been terrible the last 2 weeks.
It's been tough.
I think he had an okay finish, but I mean he rode around in the teens pretty much all day at Kansas and was 3 laps down at Bristol. So
and that's how hard the Cup Series is, man. Like
it's not easy.
This is not like when people fall off. There could be 18 different reasons why a group's falling off, or one, and they just haven't figured out the one, and it's annoying on both ends.
Yes.
Big time auto racing over here.
That's what this is.
That was the Cup Series. I want to hit one story from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race that happened on lap 2. Carson Quapple with just a massive flip and impact that he sustained on the back stretch. Fortunately, he is okay. But Kevin, what did you see from this incident?
Well, I saw William Byron get into the left rear quarter panel, and then the car overcorrects, hits the nose head on, and at the same time gets hit in the right rear quarter panel and sends it flipping. So glad that Carson was able to get out of that car, and all the safety devices did what they need to do. But you'll see Byron just get a little bit tight right here and go up the racetrack and kind of misjudge where he was, and that car just overcorrects, and timing of it all flipped it over. I don't think there's anything to worry about with the car just flipping over by itself. It was just the timing of the whole scenario.
Perfect storm.
Going super fast right there, and then you get hit and lifts up, and it just everything happened. I'm glad Carson's okay. Parker Vesloff, who's been doing a great job this year, got into that incident. That kid in the 99 and the 96 has been fast too, but it seems like Alfredo gets into a lot of situations, whether it's flat tires, this, that, and the other. But for that Viking Motorsports team, you got to give them credit for bringing fast cars to the racetrack.
Yeah, it's nice to see
96, that's the Dude Wipes car,
That's the Dude Wipes car, yeah.
The old Dude Wipe.
Do you need some? Alfredo can bring you some this weekend.
No.
Okay.
I think he's good, right?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
You might
Just
need some
checking.
after that Sunday fun day.
Those are long nights. Long afternoons.
Speaking of Sunday fun day, this weekend it will be fun in Talladega, Alabama for the Super Speedway. That's where we are headed next. So the biggest story to take note of heading into the weekend is the stage changes that they will be altering to avoid fuel saving for the stages. So stage 1 is now on lap 98, stage 2 on 143, final stage will conclude 45 laps later. So what kind of improvement will this be, Kevin?
Yet to be seen. All the smart people will figure out how to run this race, and we'll find out how it's going to run. But I love the effort.
Yes,
I love the fact
effort.
that NASCAR is mixing it up, not sitting on their hands, getting out in front of this, trying to say, hey, we want you guys to be hammered down all the time. We don't want to see any of this fuel savings strategy for a whole race. We want to see them
Play it
going
out
for
naturally,
it. Because when we had that last August at Daytona,
oh my God,
best speedway race of the year.
It's amazing.
And it's in there. It's just a matter of trying to wipe out the strategy so they have to race all day. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it works out. I'd tell you that it was going to work out a certain way, but they're all so smart that you just never know what we're not thinking about.
Yeah.
It would be nice to just see it now play out organically instead of with this being a factor.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think when we sat here after the week after Daytona fall race or summer race, whatever you want to call it now, we were like, that was awesome. They were getting after it from the drop of the green flag. And it's like, okay, so they will do it if the strategy works out. And we kind of figured out that we concluded between the three of us that we thought it was maybe the stages needed to be different because the length of that race was different than Talladega and different than the Daytona 500. So now we've adjusted that, and I hope, as well as everybody else, strategy. That it works. I hope it's right. I hope it's at least in the right direction, because we need these guys all out and not lifting and 3 and 4 wide and making big runs at Talladega and Daytona.
Yeah. Okay. So this time a year ago, wasn't that your first trip you ever took to the Boulevard? Didn't you tell us that?
It was.
Yeah. Are you going to go back out there or
I don't think
stay
so.
away this year? Had enough of that?
Yeah.
He was like Keelan and Watkins Glen for the first time.
I saw it. It was odd.
It is odd.
Yeah.
There's a lot of odd things that happen there.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Are
It's a
you
good
going to be
time.
visiting the Boulevard? you think?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going this weekend?
No, I'm going this week.
Are you working?
He is working.
Yeah, we're going to have a great time working. I'm working with Form Energy. Shout out them.
Form Energy.
They're on William Byron's car this weekend.
Okay.
So we're going to have some fun, kind of show what the vibes are at Talladega Boulevard.
So it's really interesting to me.
There's a lot of things that are. What do you got?
All these energy drinks that are all of a sudden just back into NASCAR. We've got
There's
Rockstar, we've got Celsius, we've got Form,
we've got Red Bull.
we've got Red Bull, Monster.
Yeah, they are all in. They are all in on racing.
Look, I love it, and I hope that somebody comes up with some type of campaign that lets the fans pit one against it. I hope they
remember
all
when
engage
Miller Lite and Budweiser used to do that.
Yes, that's what I want to see.
They would
Like a
challenge
feud.
each other on with press releases and in social media as to who was going to finish higher. And
I think
That would be
I
fun.
loved when they did that. We should get some Monster. We should get the energy drink wars started.
There
I mean,
go.
there's when you actually think about it, there's 10 to 12 drivers. Because you even got Coke with Bubba and all the Coke family drivers.
Coke doesn't count.
What do you mean it don't count?
No, that's not an energy drink.
Yeah,
they
but
don't don't market the same as the energy drinks.
What about Body Armor?
Body Armor? That's
is
just
definitely not
that's just
energy,
like
right?
a
No, it's not.
That's like
No, it's not an
Powerade.
energy drink. But they don't get to play.
they don't count.
Okay, fine.
No, energy drinks
They're
only.
not in the club.
Yeah, they don't
whatever.
have the cool kid marketing campaigns.
You're on your own.
On your own. Just keep winning races.
Yeah.
But so Talladega, anyways, we kind of went off on a tangent there.
That's
Chase
how we started.
Briscoe
Normal.
Yeah.
and Austin Cindric won the events at Talladega last year, and it seems like Chevy and Ford have kind of punctuated the conversation at this track as of late.
Yeah, and I think that, Briscoe, we saw him in the mix a little bit, but yeah, I would agree. I mean, Ford has been the cars to beat, and they need to capitalize on it this weekend at Talladega. I think that everybody else seems to have caught up a little bit as far as the pushing and strategy, and the strategy is obviously different with what you have going on here, but I still think the Fords have the best super speedway cars that aren't Atlanta super speedways. Yeah.
Yeah, not the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I think going into it, everyone's like, all right, how do we break these Fords up? Because they have been the leader of the clubhouse. They weren't as good the last time around. But I still think that they know how to get it together the best.
Yeah.
And I think the ones that, I mean, honestly, all the Fords need it. So all of them need it. But I'm thinking
Well, if they watched the last race,
RFK really
they
needs it.
realized they didn't do a very good job.
Yeah.
From a Ford's in general standpoint.
Yeah.
And they need to go capitalize on this race by doing a good job as a group, or they're going to be in big trouble. And
Because I'll tell you who's going to be pushing too is the 23 of Bubba Wallace and 35 of Riley Herbst. Those two guys, as well as the whole company's doing, they love seeing that there's 5 wins hanging this year, but they haven't been a part of those 5 wins. So I promise you, they want to be pushing on this one.
And explain the ability for this to be an opportunity race for people, because it is a track that produces sometimes first-time winners in the Cup Series and things like that.
well, it's interesting because of the point system and all the things that go with it. You go back to Bristol and everybody's like, well, why didn't Ryan Blaney just run him over? And, they would have used the door before. Hey, better to finish second than it is to finish 30th. So, it's you got to play the system. And I think that, in this particular scenario, I think you have to look at it. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to win these races because it means so much to not only have the trophy, but the advantage in points that you get. But those points could take you from 25th to 16th. They can take you from 6th to 4th. I think that it's now every week is important to be able to go out and capitalize on getting the best position, finishing races. But if you can get to victory lane, you can make up so much ground on everybody else. And the unique part about this is Reddick has won so many races. He's won 5 of 9 races. He's 100 and some points ahead of Denny Hamlin. Who cares, right? You're racing for second. You second, third, fourth, and sixth, fifth and sixth. But if you can, it keeps all those things a lot closer than what it is. And if somebody else was winning races and then you had 2 guys jump out there, then it becomes more difficult. So Reddick the same guy winning all the races, I used to root for that. I'm like, oh, yeah, go ahead. Same guy win all the races, because the guys that I need to catch aren't winning all the races. So it's a different math game.
Yeah, I mean, we're 9 races in? Is that where we are?
Yeah, points races.
Yeah, points races
9
in,
points.
and you just brought up the thing that we talked about on the show. I think at the week 1 this year, they're gonna race different. Like the Ryan Blaney not just running through him, Well, because
he's not running through him.
He's not
anyway.
going to run through him anyway, but everyone's kind of on that same, I think most of them on that same mindset where you saw the 19 lose all those points. You can't just get them back next week. So you need to be meticulous and smart in how you apply the pressure to your competition. And it's going to be great when we get to the end of this thing and how the points fall out. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
You guys mentioned the points. What team do you think's kind of like, just in a bit of a panic mode at this juncture? Kyle Busch?
No, that's not panic.
I think Kyle's season's pretty much over. I think that Joey Logano's in a panic.
Okay.
I think that Penske Racing and I think with the 12 car is good, but I think the 22 team is probably hitting the panic button. I would be.
I think there's a lot of frustration there.
Yeah.
A lot. Like they're that's a proud group. Like they don't get their asses kicked very often, and they're usually the ones in the mix kind of being the disruptors, and they aren't that right now, and I'm sure that they're working overtime to try to get that ship right.
I would agree.
Certainly don't see them finishing 30th very often, just from...
Not off running.
Yeah.
Like running without any problems. Like,
that's what I'm saying. So
that's crazy.
Darlington was the same way.
It's insane.
Yep.
I don't know what to make of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, there will be plenty of teams with their work cut out for them at Talladega this weekend. We look forward to all the festivities out there.
I'm really having a good time.
Yeah, and now we're looking forward to the festivities that is Mamba's Social Sips, which he will die on this hill that it is America's favorite segment on the show.
It's not America's favorite segment on the show. It's the world's favorite segment.
We're
of
going
the show.
global now.
I would say intergalactic, but I don't know if they get this channel outside of the.
By the time Elon's done up there, you'll be able to just get anything.
Yeah,
we can send people to the moon, but Daniel Suarez radio still fucking suck.
Can't figure that part out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mamba's Social Sips, your favorite segment of the show. We're going to start with Word of the Week. And Kev, well done. You really slid this thing in there I was impressed because it was a hard word. I can't even say it. Let's
Go ahead
run the
and say
tip. No.
I actually asked Denny Hamlin about this before the race. He's kind of created an ignominious situation for himself because of the fact of the things that he said on his podcast about Kyle Busch, if it was going to be a tough pass, because that's what Kyle Busch said. He's like, I can make his life hell. So didn't seem to be the case right here, but this is the way that we thought it would go today. At some point, Denny Hamlin would catch Kyle Busch to put him a lap down.
He got ignominious?
Yeah.
Talk about pulling words out of your pocket.
When I heard Mike Joyce talking about pulling words out, I just did not think my brain went completely. He said,
well,
pocket.
The reason that he said that
nice.
is he had a note in his pocket, and he had a little sticky note in his pocket, and it was, I don't remember what it was about, but all of a sudden he's talking about something, and whoop, pulls this note out and reads the note that he had in his pocket, and then 2 minutes later I say that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we were making fun of him for his note in his pocket.
Hey, you nailed it.
Yeah. And you guys know I'm a nerd and a loser, and I study, and I didn't even know that word.
Really?
When he sent it, I was like, oh boy.
I did,
I'm not sure I know what this is.
Yeah, I had to look it up. I had to have the internet tell me how to pronounce it. I'm like, he can't say this.
I just used the little AI lady on my phone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But you got a little assist from Chuck McDonald, your producer, right?
Well, I had to. I told him, I'm like, look, at some point we need to just make sure that the 11 and the 8, because I don't really know how else to use this word. They have the most obvious situation to use this word. So if we can just. Let's try to make this work out, and it worked out.
Good job, awesome. Chuck. You helped facilitate
Thanks,
the
Chuck.
word of the week.
We talk about it all the time. We love short track racing. We want to keep supporting grassroots racing, and we do it on the show in a lot of different ways. And Social Sips is one of those ways. Joseph Renfro. I don't know if you watch the show, but we watch you. This kid won his heat race. Okay, Kevin. No arms.
Born without
arms. He races with his feet. So 1 foot on the wheel, the other foot running both pedals that they. Dog. I don't care what level of racing. If you're doing this, you're doing something. This is impressive.
That is unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
You know, I tried to look up more about him. I guess his dad modified the steering wheel so that he could have the one sole foot to steer and the other to control the pedals. But I mean, that is remarkable, actually.
That's unbelievable. I love seeing stuff like that. And you know, we also had Robert Wickens this weekend.
Robert Wickens had a good weekend.
He was in the GTD race and able to drive that car. But seeing stuff like this, just makes me happy.
Yeah. Talk
absolutely.
about
Awesome.
having passion
That
for what
is
you want to
unbelievable.
do. You're stopping at nothing to do it.
Every time I see something like that, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna complain about why can I not? Right? When you see someone that's overcoming so much stuff like that, we just gotta lock in.
Pretty awesome.
Pretty great. So shout out to Joseph. Daytona 500 is always great. It's always great for everybody. It's especially great for people that have never been to any NASCAR event ever. Marshawn Lynch joined the party, and this is what he had to say about it.
I just went and did some that I ain't never did before. And I'm talking about that was probably, I mean, you know, this, like I done been to many Super Bowls, but a NASCAR Daytona 500.
What'd you think?
Oh my God. That by far was probably one of the best parties I ever been to. And it was the race.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah, man.
Glad
Welcome.
you're here.
I love it because, like, I think the difference between our Daytona 500 and like a Super Bowl is our Daytona 500 is just passionate fans. Like, it's just fans. Like, Super Bowl is a lot of high-end people. You know what I mean? That ticket is really expensive. So when you say that you loved our party, that means you love the people and our
the party
real
is the
fans.
race.
Yeah, that's right.
The party's at the race.
Yeah, that's
Party's
exactly
definitely
right.
at the race.
So anytime you want to come back, Marshawn, come on through. You guys talked about it earlier.
We
A
did.
little bit of Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin situation. So let's see what Kyle had to say about Denny's comments on the podcast.
You're sort of the center of the conversation, right? Denny's talking about you on his podcast.
If
People are
Denny
talking
wants to
about-
switch cars, I'll switch cars with him any day of the week, anytime. I would love for him to show me that he can carry it better than I can.
I'm sure that'd be nice. When you see, it's all it's a swirl, I guess, of social media, right? Like, so do you consume that, or do you just block it out, stay off it? Like, do you see what people say? Do you see what people talk about you?
I have consumed some of it over time, and I've consumed that 80% of it people don't know what the hell they're talking about. And in this instance, I don't feel like Denny Hamlin even knows what the hell he's talking about. So he can bash me all he wants, and I can certainly make his life hell.
I want your take. I just thought, so Denny came back and he's like, well, I'm on a podcast. Like, this is part of the job, answering questions. I agree that is part of our job and being authentic. But it's also his podcast and he can decide what he's talking about and how he's talking. I thought it was a little bit of a slight towards Kyle Busch. And I don't know why he would go that route. I thought it was interesting. What did you guys think?
I thought his comments to you on the pre-race were much different. You know, that's where he said how much he learned from Kyle as a teammate, and he was very complimentary of all of Kyle's skills. So did you see two different messages there a little bit?
I did not. You know, I think that you know, Denny delivered it pretty bluntly on his podcast. I think he gave a little more in depth of what he thinks of Kyle on the pre-race show and the things that he said. And look, you know, the situation with Kyle is tough with where they are from a performance standpoint. Denny also said the exact same thing that we all think. We want to see Kyle Busch win.
Everybody does.
Kyle Busch winning is good for the sport. Kyle Busch isn't going to win right now, you know, right? Because the cars are not running good. Kyle Busch is still capable of driving those cars. You know, 2-3 years ago, he was winning in the Gen 7 car. So I don't know, you know, where it is. You have no idea where it is until you see Kyle in a competitive car. But right now we're going to see if Kyle's leadership skills are there to be the leader of RCR to help get the cars back to where they need to be. Richard Childress is going to ask, what do we do? What do you think? And not scared to make changes. So it's going to be an interesting situation. But I didn't take Denny's comments as bad as, if I was Kyle, I would have taken them how Kyle took them. I'd have been pissed.
Okay.
I'd have probably run him over on the racetrack at some point, like we did at Dover way back when. But I react differently to things, and so I like both the guys now. I like Denny Hamlin and I like Kyle Busch. But you know, 2006, I probably would have smashed him.
Are you glad that back then they didn't have podcasts while you're still competing against these people to share
I mean,
all
I
your
don't know that I
thoughts?
would. I mean, I don't think I'd have a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's a tough balance, and Denny balances all these things, you know, amongst all the things that he does: team ownership, podcasts, and he can set them aside. He can run over his own car to try to win a race. He can give his opinion on the podcast, and so that's a tough balance, and sometimes unnecessary consequences and pressure that he probably doesn't need to deal with, but he chooses it. He has good opinions. He's very relevant in the sport and up to speed on teams and racing, and he's not afraid to give his opinion. So
yeah,
and he's not afraid to deal with it.
He's not. I highly respect how he juggles it all.
He juggles it.
He does it probably better than anyone because he also adds on himself. From the Kyle Busch end, if I'm Kyle Busch, 2-time Cup Series champion, won over 200 and something races in NASCAR national level, I ain't going for it. But Kyle's obviously not going for it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Jeff Gluck was funny when he suggested they swap. He's like, I'm sure that would be nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd like
it'd be
that.
nice,
Yeah.
but,
It'd be nice, but
you've already had those cars.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna keep tabs on that situation.
Yeah, we will
as the
keep
season
tabs on
develops.
that.
Entertaining for us.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be fun. Leave a voicemail at 805-317-4175. If you want a mailbag question, harvickhappyhour4@gmail.com. And thank you for joining us for another riveting edition of Mamba Social Stuff.
Very riveting indeed. Good job,
Thanks.
Dylan. All right, time now for our last
Is
call.
my government name?
And it's your government name? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well, that's your legal name.
Okay.
In case people didn't know. Time now to grade Tyler Reddick's 5th burnout of the year.
Yeah. So here's what we should do. I don't remember any of Tyler Reddick's grades, but I feel like
The reverse burnout.
Yeah.
He had the
Yeah.
reverse
High
burnout.
mark.
That was
but
good.
he's got so many wins. We should just rate him against his own burnouts.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is probably third of his
Of the-
burnouts
of the
that
five,
I
yeah.
remember.
Because there was one that was terrible.
Yeah, that was definitely a last. We definitely have a first and a last. So
it's probably in the
if I put
middle.
him third, I don't have to remember the other two, and it's just kind of middle of the road.
Yeah.
But a lot of good smoke, and probably a second or third best burnout just because of all the smoke.
Yeah. When he got out and he pounded his hand and put up 5, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, he
that
went
was-
and tapped his hand in it like that.
was
Yeah.
cool. I like
Jumps
that.
into his team.
That was good. That was
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah.
I like the
I like
fact
how
that
Showmanship.
he's his showmanship
Yes.
is high.
He always jumps into his crew. He kind of
It's
does
easy
it
when he-
delicately. He's a little human, so that works
Yeah.
out well.
Yeah, but he's a little human, but he's like
stocky,
he's a
but you know
stocky.
what I mean.
bowling
Yeah, he's
ball.
like a
He's
Listen, man, if he tackled you, you're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
You're gonna know.
Yeah, he's going to hit you right in the stomach.
Yeah.
we like your celebrations, Tyler. Good
Yeah,
job.
Taylor, good.
Keep it up.
Congratulations. Keep rocking.
Okay, now in terms of not rocking, we're going to go to the point standings.
Ooh, what happened? What
And we
happened
have a
today?
new leader, right? Were you leading last week?
No, I was not.
Okay, well,
Who was leading?
I think
She was.
I
You went from
was.
first to last.
Well, you know, I
Dang
actually
it.
have Tyler Reddick to thank for that.
Do I look like my
because
picture?
He hit. That's
Yeah.
not Mumbo. That is Mamba. That's good.
Hey, that's yeah.
There's
like
a
him.
mumbo and a
Well,
That's
mumbo.
that other guy I showed you
Oh,
on
Yeah,
the
the other guy
Yeah,
from the live,
the other
I got
live
you.
show.
The AI guy.
Yeah, the AI
Yeah,
guy.
guy. I got you.
Anyway, I'm
Anyways.
leading the clubhouse at 38 points. Kevin is second, still at 31, and KV.
Well, so here's
kick
why
back.
though, because he picked Tyler Reddick. So good by you. You picked Bubba Wallace. He finished 5th. I picked Christopher Bell, which was
Oh, you
shaping
were
up to
looking
look
good.
quite good.
I
But
have a
here
question.
we are.
Yeah.
For back-to-back wins, do I get bonus points, or how's that work? Because I picked Ty Gibbs and then
That's right.
Tyler
No,
Reddick.
I've given you a whole extra
That's
race
right.
that you guys didn't let me pick.
No, we're not going back down
let's
that path.
not forget that. You guys are racing
Yeah,
an
you
extra
went
race.
back to back.
But you did make 2 good picks.
Thanks.
That's pretty.
After-
that's pretty sporty, I
yeah,
must say.
after
And
2 years
also
of
2
failures.
people that like. Well, Ty Gibbs, we knew he could win, but still, like you.
You had the
nailed
guts
that
to do
one.
it.
That's
Thanks.
good. You had the
Watch
guts.
this gutsy pull this week.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
wondering if we have the same because
We
you kind
don't.
of gave a shadow of.
I know. I gave a couple though. That's why I did
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, who wants to go? I guess I'll go first
Yeah, you're
since I'm
last.
last.
Okay.
We talked about him earlier, and he actually was 6th in both the Talladega races last year.
I know what
Okay.
she's going with.
I think he could win. Carson Hocevar.
I knew it. Yep.
Maybe I just want him to win.
Yeah.
He almost won the Daytona 500.
I'm trying to come up with my pick right here because I didn't have a pick before I came here.
That's fair. How's that going?
Because Kevin doesn't want to pick him on Mondays.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm more of a. I like to watch practice. There's
Well, I think we all would prefer
There's no
that.
practice this week,
So-
so I think you just have to go back and look at the stats.
Okay, what you got?
So I'm gonna go Ryan Blaney.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, we talked about the strength of the Ford, so
Yeah.
There was a time
Can't
where
go
it was
wrong.
death taxes and Blaney winning at Talladega. There was, I remember that.
I feel like
Wasn't that long
most
ago.
weeks you can't go wrong picking Blaney.
Yep.
Like it's
Everyone thought I was crazy when I started calling him a future champion. Now everyone can't not pick him, so it's weird.
All right, is that your?
No, that's not who I'm picking. I really, in my heart, I want to go Ricky Stenhouse Jr. because I love Ricky and them
That'd be
boys.
cool.
But it's time for this guy to get a win. He
Ryan
won
Preece.
the Clash.
I knew it. I
Ryan
called it.
freaking Preece.
I'm so excited.
Ryan Preece.
She's just
gets-
over here like, woo.
Ryan Preece
Yeah,
gets his
you
first
know,
points
I'm a
paying win.
loser.
He's been up in the mix.
I like that
at a lot
pick.
of super speedways.
Yeah.
I thought Brad, because Brad is very savvy at this place, but I think Ryan Preece gets it.
Okay. Well,
Those
these are fun. I'll be
unique
curious to
picks.
see how this shakes out for us.
No Toyotas.
Another drive. Speaking of a Toyota, you got a Toyota on your Thursday edition with Ty Gibbs. How
I do.
was that conversation?
Yeah, we had a great. We saw a little clip of the conversation that we had on pre-race this week, leading into Kansas, and now we will have the full interview this week. It was great.
Yeah.
Talked a lot about his family and
nice.
racing BMX bikes and why he got his first number and good stuff.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
look forward to hearing that. Awesome. Well, you guys, that's our show.
Whoop-de-doo.
Whoop-de-doo.
We're all done.
Another one is in the books. Thanks for
Talladega.
watching. We'll see all of you after Talladega.